Hello, Gemini. Welcome to your weekly tarot reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. If you're watching this reading was meant to find you. Please hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Gemini, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. We have an 8 of Wands. It's time for some creative problem solving, right? I think that sometimes we feel a little bit too stretched out. Okay, this is it's a very fast-moving card. There's a lot of things going on in your life right now. I feel like you've probably felt quite busy, like you are being stretched very thin. Sometimes this card is about different component parts of ourselves, all trying to move in different directions. That's not going to lead to anything good, right? That's what's going to pull us apart, right? Drawn and quartered. So the idea here is that we have to either narrow things down, or we have to find a way to sort of consolidate everything, to bring awareness to all of these different constituent parts of ourselves, and to realize that they all want the same things. They may just have different ways that they think is the best part. We kind of have this, our heart goes one way, our mind goes the other way, our will wants something else, our body's doing its own thing. We have career stuff, we have family stuff, we've got relationships, we've got our spirituality, our creativity, we've got friends, we've got pets, we've got plants. There's a lot of things that are trying to draw energy from you. And so it may feel as if we're not really making a lot of progress in any of these directions. Okay? Because we take a couple steps this way, and then we have to take a couple steps in the opposite direction, and it ends up, we end up right where we started. Okay? I feel like you're being spread too thin right now. Okay? I think this is a week to realize where our energy goes, right? What are we putting all of our energy into? Well, let's put this card into some context. Let's look around with our Dove and Serpent spread. There we've got, now see, this is a little bit different. We go from an 8 to a 9 of Wands. The 9 of Wands is kind of singling out one path at a time. This is strength. Here we have a Knight of Cups, 6 of Swords, a Prince of Wands. The Eon card. Very good. It's a doorway to the future, right? This is saying that if we can consolidate our energy, and if we can realize where we've been like losing a lot of energy, a lot of attention, a lot of time, a lot of space, if we can focus our will into one particular direction, we can level up that direction. We can go through this divine doorway to the future. This is the doorway of really leveling up, okay? And it may be the idea of connecting what really means the most to you right now. And that's not an easy thing to do, but maybe your soul wants 10 different things, okay? But the effort that would be enough to give you success, achievement, a leveling up, a transcendence in one of those things is kind of being dissipated, dispersed by all 10 of those things. Okay? Let's continue. And as we lay these cards down, if there's anything that you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know in the comments. Okay? So next card, 3 of Swords. And what does all that bring? It brings sorrow. But the Princess of Swords, we're trying to do something about that, right? Princess of Wands, and a 10 of Swords. The Ten of Swords, I think, is a very good card. I know I may be the only one in the world that says that. That's okay. The Ten of Swords to me feels like we're getting out of the bars of the cage. We're getting out of the bird cage that we found ourselves. We're getting out of the tight spot, right? We're getting out of this feeling that we've been just spreading ourselves so thin that I can't accomplish the things that I really want to do. You know, we have so many things we want to do in life, but it feels like there's no time, there's no energy, there's no resources, right? So I think that this is really, this is a week where we need to, I think, realize what we really truly want. Prioritize kind of our desires, right? The deepest soul desire here. And then we have to find ways to free up some of our other energies. Are we wasting a lot of energy in different places, on different people, different relationships, different activities, commitments, things that are we overextending ourselves? And we can formulate a plan then that we stick to. Commit ourselves to a plan here so that we can go through this divine doorway and level up. And we can get it, right? So let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. Put it right here with Bubo, the mechanical owl. Now we're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together and it will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If you have a prediction for that card, put it in the comments down below, right? We can exercise our intuition. I think it'll be fun. Looking around the room now, very interesting that the only major arcana card we have is this divine doorway to the future. This is a new era for you. This is a new era. This isn't saying that there's one particular path that you're going to choose and you're going to make a name for yourself and you're going to have this amazing future with this one thing and that's it. Beautiful story, though. It is, right? No, I think that what you're doing here is you're learning how to achieve what you want to achieve in life. You're learning how to go through this doorway, not just once, but again and again and again. And it really is about the proper usage of your creative energy, right? This creative problem solving, right? We got a problem. The problem is we're being pulled in too many directions that we can't actually accomplish what we want to accomplish. Well, we're changing that. And so we're going to we're going to go through this doorway. We're going to, a new era, and this is something that we can do over and over. It's a repeatable thing. It happens once, we may say it was a fluke, right? But you're going to do it again and again and again and again. And now it's become magic. Well, you know, science, magic, technology, it's all the same thing. Right? I think wasn't it Arthur C. Clarke that says the high technology will be indistinguishable from magic. I think that's the same thing with science and magic, right? Science is just magic that we now feel like we can understand how it works. You know, that we can find some sort of rational basis for it to function the way it does. So whatever you want to call it, you're discovering the secret here. Okay. So our only major arcana is this divine doorway to the future. We've got a lot of fire, 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 and even this doorway is fire. There's a lot of fire, right? And it's the idea of all of this fire having to be consolidated, right? Unified and put into a certain path, a certain channel of your soul to get through this doorway, right? It's kind of like this configuration here. It won't fit through the doorway. What we have to do is channel it, concentrate it, a laser focus, right? And that will take us through this divine doorway into this new era, this wonderful future of yours. Okay. And then, of course, we do it again. A lot of fire. We have only a little bit of water underneath the surface. We've got a bunch of air cards, right? And I think all of this is really leading to an earth energy. Maybe the mystery card will be that earth energy. But the earth energy is neither here nor there, because it's not about the particular goal. It's not about the one thing you want to accomplish. It's about how you accomplish what you want to accomplish. It's the how, it's the why, right? And the when. It's not really about the details. So I'll be okay if we don't have any earth energy at all. Because that's for you. That's on the other side of this doorway, is all of that earth energy, all the rewards. All the sort of, all the accomplishments are through here. Okay. So the 9 of Wands that we have right in the middle here, it's the idea of taking all of these 8 that are sort of dissipating, right? Spreading out in all these other directions. They're sort of diffusing through the world, through your life. It's about consolidating them. It's about funneling them, channeling them into a particular direction. It has to be a direction that means something. It's the sun and the moon connected. If it's something you don't really care about, you're not going to stick with it. If it's something that doesn't speak to your very truest nature, you're not really going to care about it ultimately. You're going to welcome the distraction. You know, this will, this resolve is going to break. If we don't really mean it, we're going to break our promises all the time, right? So we don't just go around giving our word, taking an oath, making a promise, unless we really, really, truly mean that. And that's what the 9 of Wands is. It's your resolve. It's your commitment. It's saying, I've given my word, and nothing is going to cause me to break that. It would take a lot for you to go back on a promise. Okay? So I think this week, let's take some time to assess what we've committed ourselves to. Have we made too many promises? Have we committed ourselves to things that are opposites of each other? Right? I committed that I'm going to go on a no-carb diet. At the same time, I'm going to go on an only carb diet. Those two things are incompatible. Maybe in theory, maybe in some mystical, magical place it could work. But on the higher planes, I think we can do that sort of mystical exercise. But in the practical world, which I think is where we sort of need to bring our energy. That's why there's no earth energy here, because that is what we need. We realize we can't promise ourselves two opposite things, you know. And so I think this is a good week for us to understand what promises we've made. And let's go ahead and break those ones that are not in alignment or in accord with our true self, are not in accord with what we perceive to be our very most authentic self right now. Okay? Maybe you've committed to, I don't know, going on some long trip with someone somewhere, or something, and you're realizing that you can't do that and then also stay committed to your work goals or your family commitments or what promises you've made here. You can't be in two places at once, in other words, right? So we have to kind of choose. Which one are we doing? Maybe we're saying, I'll do this one now, and then later I'll do that one. That's okay. It might not just be the idea of here we have to break I'm not telling you this week, you got to go around breaking all your promises, But I do think we have to take a look at all of those commitments that we've made. I think you've overcommitted yourself. And we do that a lot. We all do that to some point. I mean, you ask my wife over at Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My wife, Lenore, she looks at our calendar and she says, why are we so busy? We have stuff with friends or family. We have all these classes and things we take our daughter to, and every day is filled with commitments. And sometimes it feels like we've overcommitted ourselves. And so it's a goal of ours to sort of, at least as we're moving into winter here in the Northern Hemisphere, soon enough anyway, that we're going to try to narrow it down a little bit to just the essential ones, just the things that really are going to be productive and, that mean the most, couple of the core things. And that's sort of what Spirit's recommending you do this week. To start the process this week. We don't have to try to do it all in 7 days, but we can start the process now, realizing what we've committed to, maybe putting a stop to committing to anything new for right now, at least for the week. Figuring out how we can prioritize the commitments that we've made, get organized. And are there any commitments that you can sort of break and say, no, I really can't do that? It's going to take some honesty. You're going to have to be honest with yourself, and I think it's important that we do that, especially when we have all this air energy. All right? But first we go down to the Knight of Cups. The Knight is always looking at the future. The Knight of Cups is looking at the Ten of Cups. What is your idea of this perfect dream come true, happy life? What is the satisfying fullness of life for you? Maybe you want a busy schedule. Maybe you want a lot of commitments. You love, every day sort of having something new that you've got to go and do, It puts you in touch with a lot of your people, family, friends, coworkers. You got a lot of business things, a lot of irons in the fire. You love it, right? Maybe not. Maybe you right now are sort of yearning for something a little bit more simple. Maybe you want to be fulfilled in just one or two things, leveling up in those areas of life rather than many, many things, right? It just depends. We're all different. Right? It's a 10 of cups, but it doesn't have to be 10. It could be 20, 30, 40, 50. It could be 1, right? But the Knight of Cups, all of the knights are looking at the future and thinking, what is my ideal? Right? What is it that I really want? What kind of life is going to really be full and satisfying to me? With the 10 of Cups, there's the implication that life could be over full, that we're trying to stuff too much things in there, too much good stuff inside these cups that the cups are going to break. That the whole system will break down. What should be a very pleasant and pleasurable and beautiful and blissful experience now becomes misery. It's like you're at the buffet, right? And you walk in and you think, I want all of this stuff. We have to know how to pace ourselves. We have to kind of go in with a plan. I love the buffets, obviously. You start going with a plan. It says, okay, I want to eat my certain favorite things I want to eat, and then I'll kind of sample a couple other things or whatever. Or maybe it's even the idea, I'm going to go in and try something I've never had before. And then I'm going to have that experience, good or bad, and then I'll eat my usual favorites, But if we keep going, if we don't have a plan, if we overcommit ourselves, then our eyes are sort of writing a check that our stomachs can't cash. Yeah. And it ends up to be overwhelming. It ends up to be too much. And we end up really wishing we'd never gone to the buffet. Okay. So we have to know what our idea of satiety, what is going to make you feel full and satisfied, where you can just lean back and think, that was perfect. Not too much, not too little. I'm nicely, pleasantly full right now. My life is got enough commitments, but not too many. But I'm not lonely and isolated either, and everybody's bar is at a different height. Okay? But we've got to look at that. We've got to know what that is. We've got to at least have a vision of the future and think, in my ideal world, I've got, 4 or 5 days very, very busy, and then I got a couple days where we can just kind of sit around the house and I can hang out with my daughter, I like to have things to do. I like to be busy, right? But I need a couple days where I don't have to get dressed if I don't want to, right? And we're all different, but we have to know what that is. And of course, 6 of Swords back here, we got to have a plan for some of this. So this week is trying to get organized. Right. I think that you've had a plan. You're somebody that is very organized. The 6 of Swords here is in your background. It's sort of, it's energy that you've brought into the reading today. So yeah, I've been organized. I know what I want. I have a plan. I have a schedule. I have a calendar. But somehow, some way or other, it sort of became a little bit chaotic. That it's just become too full that I can't even really read the calendar. You know, I see like you're trying to write really, really small on each little square so you can fit everything in there. Somehow it's kind of gotten out of hand. It's maybe gotten away from you, right? We need to go back to the order, the structure, the simplicity of things. Okay? And if we have our plan and we have our commitment, we know what promises we must keep and which ones we can break safely and with without too much regret or guilt, right? And then we also are able to prioritize things. So it's like, okay, I've made these promises, but these can wait till a few months down the road. There's some promises I've made that I literally have to do today, you know. So we make our plan, we make our priority, we make our itinerary and our schedule and our calendar and everything. And then with the Prince of Wands here, we stick to it. See, the Knight is looking at the future. The Prince is living in the present, right? And this is really it, because it's okay. It's one thing to sort of see the future and have this ideal and say, well, that's the kind of life I want, and I'm going to plan for that. I got a schedule for that, and that's like, it's like, what is it? God laughs whenever we try to make a plan, you know. So it's really saying that we have this ideal system set up. This is the way it should work. But then, of course, our Prince of Wands is here living in the moment. Things are different on the ground. It doesn't always go as planned, you know. And so it's an ongoing work. It's an ongoing assessment of any new opportunity, any new commitment. Let's be very careful. Do I agree to this? Do I say, I need to think about it? What is your heart telling you, right? The Knight of Cups is also a card about the giving and receiving of love and affection, right? We're trying to be accommodating, right? We're trying to be accepting and loving, and we want to say yes to everybody. Somebody asks us to commit to something, we check our calendar and think, okay, I only have a few other things to do that day. I guess I can squeeze it in. I don't want to disappoint this person. I care for this person, you know. So we end up saying yes, and then the Prince of Wands is like, no, why did you do that? You know, because this is that part of us that on the day we've got to deal with it. Right now, if you ask me to commit to something a month from now, yeah, sure, of course, yeah, let's do it. I'll write you in a permanent pen, you know. But when the day comes, we kind of don't want to do it anymore, you know. I think we've all been in that situation. When it comes to the future, we're more than willing to say yes because we want to please other people. We want them to feel happy. We want to see the smile on their face when we say, yeah, I'll go, you know, see your play or whatever, right? And some of those things, I want to do it. We're going to do it. And I have to do it. When the day comes, it's kind of like, I still have 50 other things I've got to do today, but what I really want to do is go see my friend's play or whatever, you know. And so it really creates this weird energy in the moment. That day we have to deal with these things, but ahead of time, yeah, we're just committing to things left and right because it feels good. Because we really do in that moment, yeah. Oh, a month from now, you want to go fishing? Yeah, let's go, let's do it. The day comes around, and I've had this with my very best friends. They say, hey, there's a concert in, December. Do you want to go? I say, yeah, I love that band, December's still a ways away, so I can, make some arrangements. But yeah, I want to go for sure. But then the day comes, and I look at the calendar and I think, today's the day I got to go to that concert. I really don't want to go, right? So it's, in a way, we have to understand, because the Knight of Cups is underneath the surface. Why are we committing to things? Is it because in the moment, when something is in the future, where we don't have to worry about it today. Today, I can just say whatever's going to please my friend. I can say whatever's going to make them smile and I smile at them and it feels good, right? I'll worry about the actual commitment later, But then this is us in that very conscious way having to worry about the commitment. So let's flip this around a little bit. When we're in these moments and we are being asked to commit to something else, or we're on the verge of sort of signing up for something or scheduling something on the calendar or making a promise or taking an oath, even if it's a month away or a year away, let's imagine just for a second that it's being asked right now. It's something that they want us to do today. Would you still say yes? Or would you say, I can't. I've got too many other things to do today. Maybe I don't want it enough. If you wanted it enough, I'd say, yeah, let me clear my schedule. We're going to go do it right now. If you don't want it that bad, don't commit to it. Okay? Of course, this feels selfish, right? It feels like other people want our presence, want us to be there with them, to celebrate with them, or to help them with something, or to do something with them, or it could be even things that we've wanted to do for ourselves. How many times have I signed up for a class, a couple months down the road, I'm going to go take a class. That day comes around, it's like, oh, that's today? Oh, I don't want to do it. It sounds good ahead of time, but not in the moment. Now, this is that card that has to be in the moment. So let's make sure that we're committing ourselves, that what's left over in this process of our commitments, that we are ready and willing and eager to do it when the time comes. And if we're not going to be, let's reprioritize or let's rethink that promise or that commitment. And maybe it needs to be unscheduled, right? That leads us over to the path of the serpent, and we get that 3 of Swords. We get the sorrow, which is, for one thing, disappointing people when we have to retract our agreement, our commitment, when we have to break our promise, right? We don't want to do that. It's terrible. Nobody likes doing that, But sometimes in the effort to sort of restructure our life a little bit, we have to go through that process. Now, the idea is that once we clear everything away, once we go through the difficult pain of having to reprioritize things, break promises, call people and say, hey, I can't go to that concert. Why? I really don't want to. It doesn't sound fun to me. I like the music, I like the band, but I don't like the venue, I don't like having to go, and the whole process, parking, it's not worth it. The reward is not worth the investment, That's some kind of harsh honesty there. Yeah. But once we go through that process and we get all that work done, as painful as it is in the moment, the idea is we're done. And now let's not let it happen again. Let's not let it keep accumulating where we get ourselves into the same pickle, and then we've got to clear all that energy out again, and we keep repeating this. This is something painful that we go through that we should not repeat again. Okay? The 3 of Swords is all about the memory. I remember how tough this was to have to reprioritize my life and consolidate my energy and reclaim some of my vital spiritual energy so that I can get things done that I really do care about. Going through that process is painful enough. I don't want to let things get that bad and then have to do it again. Okay? So what we need then is the princesses. The princesses, like the prince, they are acting in the present moment. Okay? The difference is that the prince is a fixed fire energy. The prince is saying, I've got my orders, I've got my commitments, and that's what I'm doing. This is the plan, that's what I'm building. It's the one that does not deviate from the will. The princesses, they're living in the moment too, but they're a little bit more flighty. They're a little bit more bouncing from one thing to the other, seeing what feels good, seeing what they like. Starting things over here, no, I don't really care. Starting things over here, not really my thing. Experimenting, right? Taking risks. What I see with the Princess of Swords in the position of your environment, though, is your ability to, we think of somebody that really doesn't have any tact, you know, that they just sort of say things and then like their friends are like, I can't believe they said that, you know, because it's kind of like, hey, do you want to go to the concert with me? No, I really don't, you know. The Princess of Swords is someone that can be very honest, you know, but there's a need for a little bit of tact and a little bit of subtlety, you know. We can try to live our lives being brutally honest, at least with ourselves. Do we want to make this XYZ commitment? No, I don't want to. And we have to be that spontaneously blunt. You know, it's kind of like the way kids, you know, they say kids say the darndest things, right? You know, you ask a kid a question and they're just going to blurt something out. And I think to me, it feels like they're just usually really honest. You know, it might sort of make some of the adults kind of, you know, blush a little bit because there's no attempt to be strategic or tactful or subtle. Kids are just like, you know, do you like this? No, it's disgusting. Oh, you shouldn't say that out loud. Well, that's the truth. That's what they're feeling. They're not sugarcoating it. They're not holding it back. I don't think as adults we need to be quite that way with our friends, our family, our other things that, you know, that we interact with. But we do need to be that honest with ourselves. Do you want to go to that concert in December? No. It sounds terrible. I'd be miserable. We can have that conversation with ourselves, right? I'd be miserable. The drive, the parking, I got to hang out with this guy for the whole night. You know, it's going to be so loud. I'm not going to be able to sit down anywhere. Like, hey, maybe I'm just getting old. That's okay. But it doesn't sound like a pleasant thing. And so, no, I don't want to commit to that. Yeah, it sort of would be okay. Like, I like the band, but it's not worth the suffering I would have to endure, you know, just to see them perform. I'm not into that sort of thing very much anymore, right? And we need to have that conversation with ourselves. We can have a little bit of tact when we are talking to the other person, of course. But I think that the Princess of Swords in the position of your environment and your relationships with the environment is trying to find ways to be more honest, to defend ourselves against more commitments, more draws on our energy that we really don't want. And sometimes it's just a matter of saying no. Do you want to go do this? No. No, I don't. Thank you for the offer. I love you. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but I don't want to do it. You know, and, you know, we don't have to make an excuse. Oh, I'm too busy that day. Oh, I think I'm sick that day. You know, we can just say, no, it doesn't sound like it'd be fun for me. You know, I don't recommend that we do that to our friends, our family, but let's at least be that honest with ourselves so that we don't get ourselves into these commitments that are preventing us from focusing on those things that we really want to do, those accomplishments, those doorways that we really want to go through, the effort that we put into really making big leveling up sort of changes in our lives. This is a big doorway here. And we can have these huge accomplishments if we just consolidate our energy and we stop overextending and overcommitting ourselves. Let's commit ourselves to the right things and go through these doorways. And I guarantee your life is going to get so much better. The Princess of Wands in this position, to me, kind of feels like the princess is doing things that feel more inspired, you know. And so I think that this is for your week, for this week, for all of us. For this week, I think we should not only get rid of commitments that we really cannot fulfill, prioritize the ones that are left, but as we move forward in our life, let's commit ourselves to things that really do speak to us. Let's figure out what these doorways of success, of achievement, of experience, of whatever those are. Let's figure out which things we really want to do. Let's be bold. right? Let's take risks, right? But let's do so from a place of like a here and now awareness, you know? Maybe the idea here is let's not worry so much about making long-term plans. Or let December, you want to do something you want to do something 2 years from now. I don't know. Maybe that's the honest answer. I don't know. You got to ask me in 2 years. Because the Princess of Wands is saying, I only know what I want to do right now. I got stuff on my calendar, and I'm just thinking this is what we're doing today, you know. But I feel like this is you wanting commitments in your life. But they have to be things that really speak to you, that really invoke your enthusiasm and your zeal. You want to get out there and dance with the tiger, you know. And you want to take risks. You want to have these big aspirations, and you can achieve them going through this doorway, right? You can achieve them if you don't let your energy sort of dissipate. We get all fired up about something, and then it just kind of it fizzles out because there's so many other things in the way. Then our energy, we start to get really, really hyped up about one thing, and then a million other things sort of pull us away from that, and we're just kind of longing, we're reaching back at these things and thinking, I almost made it. That's what I really want, but life, obligation, our own commitment starts to pull us away in all these other directions. Okay. The Ten of Swords is sort of realizing that sometimes it's okay to break your plans. Sometimes it's okay to say, hey, you know what? I thought about it. I really don't want to do this anymore, and I'm not going to be able to make it. Okay. And of course, we work on trying to prevent the need for this. We don't want this to keep happening. So don't be somebody who, you know, in the moment commits to these things and makes all these plans and then gets closer to the day and you're on the phone saying, I can't make it. Don't be that person, right? Just say no at the beginning if you know you're not going to want to do it, right? We don't always know, of course. So things happen, right? But I think that Ten of Swords is us getting out of this habit of overcommitting ourselves, right? Because the 10 is kind of that, the future thing, and we're seeing the way things are going, it's not going to work. The way things are going, I'm not going to be achieving anything. I'm not going to get my 10 of Cups. It's going to be nothing. It's going to be, there's no meat on the bones here. There's nothing of sustenance. There's nothing nourishing about this. So to keep things as they are is going to lead to the accomplishment of nothing. Okay? And what you want is that 10 of Cups. Let's look at the mystery card. I know this is getting a little bit long in the tooth. Mystery card, I think we were looking for some earth energy, right? So maybe that's what we'll have. Maybe we need a little bit of that. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments down below. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, it's the Fool. Oh, even better. Even better. The Fool is kind of the epitome of zero obligations. The Fool doesn't have a calendar. The Fool doesn't make commitments. The Fool says, somebody asks you something, do you want to do this? Are we doing it right now? No, it's a year from now. I don't know. Ask me on the day. The Fool likes the spontaneity. The Fool cannot see past this present moment, the eternal here and now. Nothing else matters. Okay? So a little bit of this energy, I think, is good. This is the freedom that we feel by understanding and by realizing the awareness that we have the power. We have the power to accomplish anything we want to accomplish in life. We have to get out of this birdcage, this habit, this really bad plan, bad methodology of overcommitting ourselves, whether it's because in the moment, it sounds nice, or we don't want to disappoint the person, or whatever. The Fool is like that child that will just say, no, that sounds terrible, I don't want to do it, unless we're doing it right now, and unless I've never done it before, you know. Because the Fool likes the novelty of things. The Fool will say yes to everything as long as it's happening right now, and as long as I haven't done it before. But as far as making promises, commitments, schedules. The Fool's not into that sort of thing, right? So I think this is a clean slate. This is kind of saying I've gotten everything down to just the bare essentials. And moving forward in life, I'm going to keep it that way so that I can actually accomplish these things, and that the things that I do commit to will be meaningful, will be life-changing, transcendent experiences. Because I can be fully present, because I'm not feeling I got to rush from one thing to the next. No, I can be here now, and I can enjoy the things that I'm doing, and I can achieve these things. It's not just about like literal physical, because again, no earth energy. It's not about the physical achievement, It's about accomplishing the things in life that you want to accomplish by not overextending yourself with things that you really don't want or care about. Okay? We're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around, there's a link up top. There's one down below. New readings for Gemini, Mondays and Fridays. Be sure to watch both readings, yeah. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It is totally free, doesn't cost anything. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.